This is a guy who's in the Hall of Fame, Charles Barkley, joining us on the program. How were you told you were going into the Hall of Fame?
I got a call. They told me they were going to vote, and I got a call. It's a very important call. It's emotional. You call the people close to you and give them a heads up. Um, and it's obviously special when you're like a first ballot Hall of Famer. That was a disgrace what happened to Bill Belichick, first and foremost. And let me tell you something else, Dan. You know, the writer who wrote why he didn't vote for Belichick, that made it even worse in my opinion because he said, well, I'm going to vote for these older guys to get them in because this might be their last chance. Well, I believe this. If you haven't made the Hall of Fame in X amount of time, you're just in the Hall of pretty good. If you don't, like I say, it's either yes or no. I think Dion said it a few years ago, and I agree with. Like, if you have to really think about guys who've been on these committees for double-digit years, and they finally get in, I'm like, I don't mean no disrespect to you guys. You were really, really good. You just wasn't a Hall of Famer. I mean, it's a very simple process in my opinion. But Bill should be automatically because now, do you put Tom Coughlin in? You put Mike Tomlin in? You put Harbaugh in? They only won one Super Bowl. A guy who's won six and been to nine, if he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer, that's where the problem arises. Now you can't let any of those guys in. And like Mike Tomlin is a Hall of Famer, but you can't put him on the first ballot now. Same thing with my good friend Sean Payton, who I love and respect. Like, wait, you didn't put a guy who won six, who been to nine? That's crazy.
Yeah, it's tricky. I don't know. You mentioned Deion Sanders. Would you be in favor of some designation or place in the Hall of Fame for first ballot Hall of Famers? Deion talked about maybe do you give a different jacket, maybe a different shade of gold with first ballot Hall of Famers? Or do you give a designation of maybe first, second floor, penthouse, whatever it might be?
I have no problem with that. Listen, I'm a Hall of Famer, Dan. I'm not at the table with Michael, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, LeBron, Kobe. Those guys at a different table than me. Um, that's just the way it is. I don't take it personally. I know that I had a hell of a career, but I just don't.
But you're a first ballot Hall of Famer, weren't you?
I am, but I'm not at the same table as those guys. Those guys won multiple championships. That's what separates.
Well, how many tables are you away from them?
Well, I don't look at it like that. We're just not at the same table.
Yeah, I think you underrate yourself.
No, dude. I'm very good where I was, but I'm saying guys who win multiple, like guys who win one championship, they're at a different table than guys who won multiple. That's no slight. Like there's a bunch of coaches who won a championship. They're not at the Taylor at the club. They're not the same table with Belichick, Chuck Noll, Lombardi, guys like that. And that's not a slight. They're first ballot Hall of Famers, but we're not all created equal.
Okay, but is Scottie Pippen at the big table that you're not at?
No.
But he won multiple championships.
Yeah, but he wasn't driving the bus like Michael and Bird and Magic and those guys were.
So
And
James Worthy is not at the big table.
he's not.
Okay. So you have to be the alpha dog. You have to be the number one guy.
100%.
Okay.
But it's just my opinion.
Yeah.
It's just my opinion. Like guys who are on multiple championship team who were role players, I don't hold that against them, but they're not Hall of Famers, number one to start with. But guys who were the man year in, year out, who carried the water, those guys at a different table.
I saw or read where you called out NBC with this Michael Jordan, the interview that they did.
I didn't call them out. Dan,
it reads that way. It reads that way. That you
every time it's like people were calling me about the.
Wait, it says it's a bad look for NBC. It's just a bad.
It's a bad look. It's a bad look. to do one interview, then splice it up throughout the
I
season.
agree. I agree.
You know, it's a bad look. Like they couldn't fly down there once a month to sit down with Michael for an hour.
I suggested Reggie Miller sit down with Michael Jordan and do a couple of interviews with Michael along the season.
Once a month, Dan.
I
Not
know.
like
I would
I
have
mean,
done it. I would have gone down there once a month.
I mean, to do an interview in August and splice it up and still shoot the same interview in January or February, that's a bad look because I thought it was great that we had Michael Jordan back in the NBA. But now you look and I'm like, yo, he's wearing the same outfit from August. But they could have listen. It's great to have Michael back in the NBA, but fly somebody down there once a month because you know the thing is there's so much has happened in the NBA. Like
Yeah.
what he talked about in August has nothing to do with January.
Yeah, because he could be talking about Giannis right now. He could be talking about does LeBron go back to Cleveland and end his
Yes,
career there, right?
100%. Like once a month, fly down to Florida, give him, hey, you guys got 45 minutes to an hour. Ask him something relevant. Also, ask him stuff that's relevant in sports. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on in sport. Well, wouldn't you love to hear about Michael's opinion on Bill Belichick?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yes.
Yeah.
By the
But
way, I ask you this every year. Do you want to just give me your money that you would be betting on the Super Bowl since you always lose your Super Bowl bet? Then I'll hold it for you and then give it back to you at the end of the game.
then, as a matter of fact, I think I'm on a 5-year winning streak
Are
of the
you?
Super Bowl. I am. And I'm riding Seattle like we ride Secretariat. I've had Seattle the last 2 weeks. I'm riding them until the damn wheels come off.
Okay.
I think going back to that last game when they won, I think when they won the last regular season game, I'm all in on San Francisco. And I think there's something happened to Sam Darnold. Going back, remember when they had the Rams in that crazy game like a couple months ago? I think something clicked in him. He's not the same quarterback. That gave him a jolt of energy. But I'm riding that damn horse. I'm riding Secretariat all the way. And listen, you know how I feel about Seattle, the most underrated sports city in the universe. But I'm all in on the Hawks.
Okay. Why don't you lead the charge to get an NBA team back in Seattle?
Well, I know they want that drastically, but I think the problem they got, man, who calling me now? Let them up. Good. My house, the maids are here. Sorry. Um,
Your maids, plural, are there.
a Creek couple. My boy Steve and his wife. They're an amazing couple. Um,
How much money are you going to bet on the Super Bowl?
Probably about 250.
Okay.
About 250.
What's the most you've bet?
Half a million.
You
And
lost
it was,
that one, didn't you?
oh, I didn't win. I didn't win. My boy Belichick against the Rams, he won me big money.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, they won me big money then.
Uh,
I'm all in on Belichick, man. He's my guy. I hate this. I hate this. The way this stuff is turning out. To be honest with you, because this shit, like, you know when it's unanimous, everybody's pissed. You know somebody screwed up. I haven't heard one person with any common sense say it like this is just a travesty, and it's unfortunate because the bad thing about it is when those other guys, rightfully so, are gonna be having who gonna go in the Hall of Fame. That thing is that elephant in the back of the room, like Belichick should have been here. And it's gonna take away from their shine, and I hate that.
Charles Barkley, Hall of Famer, inside the NBA on ESPN. You guys talked about this last night with LeBron playing in Cleveland. Can you see a scenario where next year he's in Cleveland to end his career?
I think this is only scenario. I think obviously the Lakers are done with him after this year. They're gonna move into the Luka, Austin Reeves situation, which rightfully so. I think his only logical play is going to be going back to Cleveland. I listen, I'm not opposed to him getting traded to Cleveland the next week during the trade deadline because the East is up for grabs. The East is 100% up for grabs. And you can't tell me if LeBron went back to Cleveland right now, they wouldn't be the favorite in the East.
Yeah, but what am I giving up to the Lakers? See, I'd rather sign him and not have to compensate the Lakers in the offseason.
That's fair, but could you give up something to help the Lakers? They got an abundance of big men in Cleveland between Jared Allen and Mobley. Could you give up one of those guys? I think your team would still be just as good.
You think if the Lakers got Evan Mobley for LeBron, they would be fine?
Well, because this kid's going to be a really good player for the next 10 years. If they just lose LeBron, they don't get anything for him. It could be a win-win for both teams. Because, you give me Evan Mobley, Luca, and Austin Reeves going forward. My team is better.
Yeah.
But also, I man, I got zero idea. I mean, I know the Pistons are the favorite. I know the Pistons are the favorite. But you tell me this. If LeBron went back to Cleveland with Donovan Mitchell, Garland, Jared Allen, would they be the favorites in the East?
Be close.
It'd be close.
Yeah, be close.
Uh, Sometimes you got to roll the dice. You got to roll the dice. Because the Lakers are not any good, and the Cavs, they probably were the favorite going into the season, but right now you see they're not. They're struggling.
Let me get your thoughts on Giannis. And now that he wants out, reportedly wants out, Golden State seems like if I'm going to take another swing at trying to do something with Steph Curry in the next 2 years, why don't you got, I think, 4 first-round draft picks. You could trade Kuminga and you could throw in somebody else. Maybe can you trade Jimmy Butler's contract? Like, can you make this work that Golden State would get Giannis? Or do you see him going elsewhere?
Great question. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. But if I take a big swing at Giannis. He's a terrific player. He's a terrific person. I take a swing. I take a swing at him. I really do. If I'm any team, because he's going to make you relevant. Because right now, Oklahoma City and Denver to me are the two favorite teams. No, I don't think anybody's in their class. Man, the East is so crazy, Dan. The Jason Tatum, the elephant in the room, is he's going to come back. That might make the Celtics the favorite.
Yeah, but Milwaukee doesn't want to trade him in the East.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, first of all, they got to make the trade what's best for their team. You can't. You got to do what's best for your team going forward. You can't worry about if he stays in the East.
Yeah.
Say you got to make the best because you got to. Basketball is going to be played this year, next year, and the year after, and you got to do. It's like, let's say hypothetically, the Celtics offered Jaylen Brown for Giannis. Hell yeah, you do that. Even if Giannis is in the same conference, Jaylen Brown is a hell of a player.
Okay. All right.
But you can't worry about. You got to do like if we get Jaylen Brown for the next 10 years, and I'm in Milwaukee, I'm like, okay, but you can't worry about where he goes. You got to make the best deal for your franchise.
How did you tell the Sixers you wanted out?
I never got a chance, Dan. What's really funny, I was on trial because I had punched that guy in Milwaukee. So I had spent a week on trial in Milwaukee. I was acquitted. Acquitted. But what was crazy, we spent a week because it should have never went to trial, to be honest with you. So the guys, me and my attorney had wrote a letter to the Sixers that we worked on all week because I didn't want to alienate the fans in Philly. So I got home Friday night from Milwaukee. I got acquitted in the afternoon, flew back to Philly, and I had made up my mind we were going to send the letter Monday morning. what's really funny, I forgot that I had ordered a set of ping golf clubs. They were sitting on my front yard when I got back to Philly that Friday night. And then Sunday morning, I get a call from the Sixers that I got traded to Phoenix. But we were gonna send that letter Monday morning. So I never
Requesting a trade?
yes, because I didn't want to alienate the fans because the fans of Philly had always treated me great, but I had had enough. I had went through 3 years of getting traded every week.
But did the trial have something? Did that expedite them wanting you out of town?
No, because I was acquitted, Dan.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
I know that, but I don't know if, you know.
No, the Sixers were just an idiotic organization back then. I mean, we had the number one pick in the draft. I think my career would be totally different if the Sixers, who had the number one pick in the draft, had taken Brad Daugherty, who I loved as a player and had a hell of a career. If I'd have had Brad Daugherty for 10 years, um, I think my career in Philly would be totally different. But they traded it, the number one pick, to Cleveland for Roy Hanson, who's a good dude. He's a good dude.
But he's not.
And he's not Brad
No,
Daugherty.
he's not.
And what's really crazy, to be honest with you, they traded Moses in that same trade that nobody ever talked about. They traded Moses to the Bullets for Jeff Rulin, who I never got to play with. So after having the number one pick, I lose Moses, who ended up playing like another 3 or 4 years. So I lost Moses, who was like my dad, who's the most important person in my basketball career. So I had I went to bed with the number one pick. I woke up with Roy Hanson, who's a good dude, I might add. And then they traded Moses for Jeff Rulin, a guy I never even played with. That's how stupid the Sixers were back then.
Thanks for joining us. Good luck on Super Bowl Sunday, as always.
You like Seattle, right?
Uh, I'm going to like what you like. How's that? Too many people. I don't like to go when everybody said, oh, it's a no-brainer. But you're the one putting up $250,000. I'm just putting up something even more priceless, my reputation.
Well, I tell you what, Sean McVay had me nervous because he had two chances to kick a field goal that would have covered the point spread. I'm so glad he went for that touchdown twice, boy. I ain't gonna lie, Dan. I was sweating bullets. Like, go for it. I'm screaming at the TV, go for it, go for it, go for it. Because if he kicks a field goal, they don't cover. And I'm like, wow. So that's gambling, though, brother.
Oh, I know. That's why they call it gambling. Thank you, Chuck.
Brother. All right, brother. Thanks for having me. You guys be safe.
Thank you, bro. Charles Barkley, Hall of Famer, inside the NBA.